rage, stay in your lane, turn the page, but something woke up deep inside, a stronger voice, a wilder ride. I've paid my dues, I know my worth, I've fallen down, I've had rebirth. Now I'm standing in my truth, not chasing time, I'm choosing me. I've got wisdom in my bones, fire in my soul. This isn't the ending, this is the moment I take control. Life gets better after 40, clearer vision, brighter glow. I'm not fading, I'm ascending. This is the best I've ever known. Stronger, bolder, unapologetic. I'm just getting started, don't you see? 40's forward, this is my time. The future's finally looking like me.
Are hormones dangerous? The truth behind the WHI study, hormone balance, and what everybody gets wrong. Welcome to Forward is Forward, the podcast where we don't age quietly, we age boldly. I'm Dr. Betsy Greenleaf, and this is the place where we talk honestly about health, hormones, vitality, and performance in life, at work, and yes, in the bedroom. If you've ever been told that hormones are dangerous, if you've ever been afraid to take hormones, or if you're currently on hormones and quietly wondering, am I doing the right thing? This episode is for you. Because today we are unpacking one of the biggest medical misunderstandings of the last 25 years and how it still impacts women and men today. So let's move 40s forward together because we're not going downhill, we're leveling up. So where the fear came from, this is a sentence I hear all the time. I don't want hormones. I heard they cause cancer. This fear did not come out of nowhere. It came from a single study that changed medicine overnight. The Women's Health Initiative, published in 2001. The study scared an entire generation, patients and doctors alike, away from hormone therapy. And here's the big kicker. It wasn't even the greatest of studies. Where it blew up was the fact that it got reported in the media. And it was reported in the New York Times, in the newspaper. And just think, if this same study or a similar study came out now with the way the world is with social media and podcasts and other forms of media, this would have become a complete panic. But what happened during this time was prescriptions plummeted. Women were taken off their hormones abruptly. There was a lot of hot flashing, pissed off menopausal women around this time. Medical training shifted and fear became the dominant narrative. But here's the truth. What most people think the WHI study showed is not what it actually showed. And what most people were told about hormones after that was an oversimplification that caused real harm. So what the WHI study actually studied. So let's slow down for a minute and get specific because details matter. The hormones used in the Women's Health Initiative were not natural hormones. They were conjugated equine estrogens, so they means that they were sourced from horses. So they are great hormones if you're a horse, not great hormones if you're a person, human. There were synthetic progestins, and those really were the problem. So these are not bioidentical, not naturally occurring hormones in the human body. They're not the same as estradiol that's made by the human body, progesterone made by the human body, testosterone made by the human body. And this distinction is critical because how a hormone is structured determines how it's metabolized in the body. Now, the reason that these hormones exist is purely for business purposes. And I'm not vilifying the pharmaceutical industry because they're doing what they were meant to do, invent something and protect their intellectual property. So taking a natural hormone, tweaking it, and making it a new novel compound, they can patent it and sell it, and that's what businesses do. So now let's get into estrogen metabolism, the pathways. When estrogen is metabolized, it can go down different pathways. Some pathways are neutral, some are protective and even beneficial, where others are potentially more reactive and toxic. One of those is the 4-hydroxyestrogen pathway. So metabolites in this pathway can become unstable. They can interact with the DNA, cause oxidative stress, increase the potential for cellular damage. And does that mean automatically cause cancer? No, but it can increase the risk under certain conditions. And here's the key point: the synthetic, non natural hormones used in the WHI prefer to be metabolized down this toxic pathway. That matters. So, does this mean all hormones are dangerous? This is where the misunderstanding exploded. The takeaway became hormones are dangerous, but that is not true. The more accurate truth is this: hormones out of balance, especially in excess, can become problematic. That applies to synthetic hormones specifically, but it can also apply to bioidentical hormones, hormones made by our own body. And this is where nuance matters. So, natural hormones can also cause problems, but in excess. This part often surprises people. Even naturally occurring hormones, when present in excess, can overflow down a less favorable metabolic pathway, including the 5-hydroxy pathway. This is not about hormones being bad. This is about hormones being powerful, and anything powerful requires balance. Now, example is obesity as a natural example of hormone excess. So let's talk about real world examples everyone understands, such as obesity. Fat tissue is not inert. It is hormonally active. Fat tissue converts hormones, especially estrogen, through a process called aromatization. That means the higher body fat, the higher estrogen levels. The higher estrogen levels, the greater metabolic burden. This is why obesity is associated with increased risk of cancer-related issues such as breast cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate issues in men, gynecomastia, so specifically men developing breasts, hormone-driven inflammation. So no one says that estrogen itself is evil, but we all recognize that estrogen in excess creates risk. Same hormone, different balance. So this also applies to men too. This conversation is not just about women. Men experience hormonal imbalance too. In men, excess estrogen can be relative to high testosterone that's being converted into estrogen. Also, low testosterone, high insulin and inflammation, they can all contribute to prostate enlargement, erectile dysfunction, loss of muscle, fat gain, mood changes, increase of cardiovascular risk. Again, not because the hormones are bad, but because the balance matters. So this is why the one-size-fits-all hormone programs worry me. This is where I want to be very clear and very honest. I'm deeply concerned about the rise of online hormone programs, subscription hormone models, click, prescribe, and ship medicine, where hormones are prescribed without proper testing. Follow-up is minimal, dosing is standardized, balance is not reassessed. And the biggest thing is because hormones are not supplements. They are not neutral. They are not benign. They are biologic signals that affect every tissue in the body. Blindly prescribing hormones without measuring baseline levels, monitoring responses, adjusting doses, and understanding metabolism is not precision medicine. It's gambling. And I truly believe we're going to see more hormone imbalances, more downstream consequences, more confusion, more backlash. And if we do not course correct, there's going to be some big problems, which could worsen the fear of hormones when hormones are not inherently bad. We need to just make sure they're in balance. So, what does responsible hormone therapy actually look like? Responsible hormone care means testing before treating, understanding the metabolism, and we have tests that we can see how you're metabolizing your hormones, monitoring levels, respecting individual variability, and adjusting doses over time. It means asking, how is this hormone being metabolized? Is it safe, and is it staying in the safe pathways? Are we creating excess? Are we supporting detoxification? Is inflammation under control? Is body composition being addressed? Hormone therapy is not static, it's dynamic. And the other thing to realize is hormones are only a tool. They're not an answer to everything that happens to us as we age. Hormones are not the answer for low libido. They're not the answer for hot flashes. They're not the answer for brain fog. But they can be a tool, and the tools work best when we lower our stress and our inflammation. Because if you remember from past episodes, we talked about how in a stressed situation, whether the body's stressed emotionally or because of inflammation, we're going to convert those hormones into cortisol. So even all the hormones in the world may not stay as where they're supposed to be and can be converted into cortisol, which can cause more problems. So this is where testing becomes very important, and working on the whole body, mind, spirit to maintain hormone balance and lowering stress and inflammation so that the tools that we use, such as hormones, work better. So the goal is not more hormones. It is balance. This is the message I want you to remember. The goal is not more estrogen, more testosterone, more progesterone. The goal is appropriate levels in the right ratios for the right person at the right time. Balance is protective. Imbalance in either direction can create risks. So, what I want you to do with this information. So, if you're considering hormones, if you're currently on hormones, if you've been told hormones are dangerous, here's what I want you to do. Ask better questions. Who is testing your hormones? How often are they being monitored? Do they understand the metabolism? Do they adjust dosing? Are lifestyle factors being addressed? Is body composition part of the plan? Hormones should never exist in isolation. So, this is exactly what we do at the International Pause Institute. We don't guess, we don't blindly prescribe, and we don't chase numbers. We evaluate balance, we support metabolism, and we individualize care, because hormones done thoughtfully can be protective, life-changing, restorative, and hormones done properly and hormones done poorly can create problems. So visit the Pause Institute to learn more about our approach to hormone optimization for women and men in midlife. But just remember, overall, hormones are not the enemy. Fear is not medicine, and balance is the answer. So thank you for listening to 40s Forward. Stay curious, stay empowered, and always remember, we're not going downhill, we're leveling up.
Hormone testing. What to test, what it really means, and how to choose what's right for you. Welcome to 40s Forward, the podcast where we don't age quietly, we age boldly. I'm Dr. Betsy Greenleaf, and today we're talking about something I get asked about constantly: hormone testing. What tests are available? Which ones are accurate? Which ones are covered by insurance? And how do you actually use these tests in a meaningful way? Because here's the truth. Labs don't treat people. People treat people. Labs are tools, not answers. Let's break this down in a way that actually makes sense. Why hormone testing can be confusing. Most people assume hormone testing gives a clear yes or no answer. High or low, normal or abnormal, good or bad. But hormones don't work that way. Hormones fluctuate throughout the day. They fluctuate with stress, sleep, food, exercise, and inflammation. And most importantly, they behave differently in blood, saliva, urine, and tissue. So understanding what you're testing and why matters. Serum, blood, hormone testing. Let's start with the most common test, serum hormone testing, meaning blood work. This is what most primary care doctors, OB/GYNs, and endocrinologists order. The benefits of serum testing are real. It's a simple blood draw, easy to schedule at almost any lab, usually covered by insurance, familiar to most practitioners. And because of insurance coverage, this is often the entry point for hormone evaluation. But there are important limitations. Serum testing is essentially a snapshot in time. It only tells you what your hormone levels were at that exact moment, on that exact day, under those exact conditions. Hormones can vary significantly throughout the day, especially cortisol, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So one blood draw does not represent your full hormonal picture. Now, the problem with normal lab ranges. Another major issue with serum testing is lab reference ranges. Laboratory normal values are not based on optimal human function. They are statistical averages of the population that lab sees. That means sick people are included, people with symptoms are included, people on medications are included. This is why lab ranges vary from lab to lab. So being normal does not mean optimal. And this is why interpreting serum labs can be challenging. When serum testing is useful, serum testing still has value, especially when you're using insurance. You're working with a traditional provider. You're establishing a baseline. You're ruling out extremes. If you're using serum labs, the most important thing is trends over time, not single numbers. This is where I strongly recommend tracking symptoms, creating a simple spreadsheet, logging labs alongside how you feel. Over time, patterns emerge, and patterns matter more than isolated values. Saliva hormone testing. Next, let's talk about saliva testing. Saliva testing measures free bioavailable hormone levels, the hormones that can actually enter tissues. Because of this, saliva is often considered the gold standard for certain hormone assessments. Benefits of saliva testing: reflects tissue-level hormone availability, can measure multiple time points in a day. Very useful for cortisol rhythms. However, there are downsides. Saliva testing is typically not covered by insurance, requires collecting saliva, which some people dislike, can be difficult if you have dry mouth, must be done before eating or 2 hours after eating. Saliva testing also does not show how you metabolize hormones. It tells you what's available, not what happens next. Dutch testing, dried urine test. Now let's talk about my personal favorite, the Dutch test, which stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones. This is a branded test and is typically not covered by insurance. Depending on the panel, costs can range from $300 to $1,000, with the Dutch Complete being the most comprehensive. Here's how it works. You collect urine on filter paper. Samples are taken 4 times a day. The paper dries and is mailed in. What makes this powerful is what it shows beyond hormone levels. With urine testing, we can see how hormones are metabolized, which pathways they're going down, whether metabolites are protective or potentially toxic, cortisol patterns across the day, whether sex hormones are being diverted into stress hormones. This gives us actionable information. If someone is metabolizing hormones down a less favorable pathway, we can intervene with nutrition supplements, lifestyle changes, stress regulation. That's precision medicine. So which test is best? Here's the answer most people don't expect. There is no single best test. The best test depends on your symptoms, your budget, insurance coverage, your practitioner's experience, whether you want trends, tissue levels, or metabolism data. Most importantly, practitioners should treat symptoms, not labs. Labs are guides. They are tools. They are not the decision makers. A note on cost and taxes. One important practical point. Any money spent on medical care, including hormone testing, can often be written off as a medical expense. This includes Dutch testing, saliva testing, cash-based labs, so keep records, receipts, and invoices. Hormone testing is not about chasing numbers. It's about understanding what your body is doing, how it's adapting where support is needed. Have open conversations with your practitioner. Ask, why this test? What will it change? How will we use the results? If you want help navigating hormone testing, hormone balance, and whole person care, this is exactly what we do at the International Pause Institute. Follow us on social media for education you can trust. Visit pauseinstitute.com to learn more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the 40s Forward podcast. And remember, we're not going downhill. We're leveling up.
Life gets better after 40, clearer, vision brighter glow. I'm not fading, I'm ascending. This is the best I've ever known. Stronger, bolder, unapologetic. I'm just getting started, don't you see? 40s forward, this is my time. The future's finally looking like me. We got wisdom, we got fire, we got nothing left to prove. This is power, this is freedom, this is living fully you. Life gets better after 40. This is where I rise and shine. 40's forward, full of purpose. I'm stepping into my